Good afternoon, everyone. Bill Renchler in the 1011 Now streaming studio. Hope everyone's having a nice Friday afternoon. I hope everyone is, again, beating the heat today. Again, very hot, very humid out there today. And again, hope everyone is taking care of themselves. Again, it is Friday afternoon, and that means we have, again, our regularly scheduled streaming segment with the Flatwater Free Press Inside the Story, where, again, we kind of take a look at an interesting piece that's been published in the Flatwater Free Press, and we talk with the author of that piece. And today, we have Michael Wunder with the Nebraska Community Foundation. Michael wrote a really interesting piece that is in the Flatwater Free Press, basically talking about some cultural exchanges between eastern Nebraska and western Nebraska. So let's go ahead and bring Michael in here. Michael, first of all, thank you for joining the program today. How are you doing? Are you beating the heat on this Friday afternoon?
I would say I'm doing a pretty good job of beating the heat today, but it could always do better. I'm doing well, though. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay. Again, the feels like it's 110 outside, so I'm just trying to stay inside as much as I can today. So, Michael, again, thanks again for coming on. Again, I just kind of touched on it, but you wrote a really, really interesting piece that's, again, published on the Flatwater Free Press's website. So you can find this story that we're about to talk about on flatwaterfreepress.org. It's also posted on 1011now.com, so you can get it there. And again, I basically, a really quick and dirty summary with it is a cultural exchange between eastern Nebraska and western Nebraska. Michael, can you kind of tell me a little bit of the background of kind of how this all kind of started and came to be?
Yeah, of course. So kind of the seed for this goes back to, I want to say 2020, when Preston Love, former Husker activist in North Omaha, kind of wrote a general letter to the rural Nebraska asking, he's noticed commonalities and wondering if, we can all put those aside and kind of learn more about each other from different parts of the state and try to cut down some of that divide, kind of bridge the gap a little bit.
And
So
so,
from that point, oh,
no,
sorry.
no, you keep going, Michael. Don't let me cut you off.
Yeah, so kind of from that point, it reached our CEO here at Nebraska Community Foundation, Jeff Yost, and they started a dialogue and talking back and forth, and eventually that led to a bunch of people from all over the state meeting in North Omaha for our annual event last November, and they went on a bus tour of the community in North Omaha. They had lunch at Mama's Kitchen. It was a great day, but it left the people from Southwest Nebraska kind of itching to return the favor. So in the article really kind of covers, how they hosted people from east out Southwest Nebraska.
And so we're looking here again. This is at the Flatwater Free Press's website. Again, this article that you can see here, and this is a picture of again the folks from North Omaha during their time in McCook with their kind of host families. Again, and they went through several different tours of local businesses and learned about land conservation and water conservation, and again things that again if you're from North Omaha or if you're from any metro area, again whether it be Lincoln or Omaha or any other area, you're not really familiar with things like land conservation and water conservation like you are if you're living in these more rural areas across the state.
Absolutely. And I myself, I was born in Omaha and live in Lincoln now, so I don't have a lot of experience. So it was also eye-opening for me as well to kind of be on part of this tour and kind of document it all.
And so
Um,
I would say, and you just mentioned it. You guys knew you were going to write this story, and so you were embedded with this group. So again, with both. I mean, in both directions. Talk about that experience.
yeah, I will say, the shuttle ride out to, McCook, Imperial, and Ogallala was one of the best road trips I've ever been on. People, were seeing cows for the first time. They were just taking in the landscape, which was absolutely beautiful. We went to McCook, kind of explored. They have, a wonderful downtown community. We had local hosts who kind of took us on tours. Just kind of really rolled out the red carpet for us, which was quite nice. And in every community we stopped in on that part of the tour.
And again, it is, I would say, probably pretty undeniable. There is kind of a gap, a divide between rural Nebraska and more urban areas. Again, you can The example I guess I will point out is if you look at the political elections, you can see kind of one part of the state is one color, and more urban areas are another color. And going back to what you said about Preston Love, again, activist, former Husker player. Again, basically, he wrote this open letter that's basically like, hey, we have more in common than we do than not. And you cite some really interesting statistics in this article as well. Again, data from the Pew Research Center. Can you kind of take me inside some of the statistics again behind this gap that we do see?
Yeah. So the Pew study I referenced kind of really touches on a lot of differences. I think we've all kind of been beaten over the head with before. There's differences in political views. There's kind of breakdowns in that residents from metro communities and non-metro communities think the other one. People from the other communities don't quite understand that way of life where they live, and vice versa. But really, if you ask anyone who is involved in these tours, this exchange, the goal was to kind of cut through that division, that narrative, and kind of touch upon commonalities, which, there are communities everywhere are focused on housing. They're worried about addiction problems, early childhood education. And this kind of cut to all those commonalities to kind of bridge, Nebraskans, bring them together, and hopefully, find a path to the future where kind of everyone is on the same page.
And I'll read from your article here again because again, you cite you cite the differences, but then this paragraph says the National Pew Survey found residents in both types of communities worry about drug addiction, availability of affordable housing, availability of jobs, and infrastructure conditions, among other issues. Both groups want a good place to raise children, a strong sense of community, and access to recreation. So again, those things more than anything else, again, certainly would unite us rather than divide us.
Yes. Yes.
And so, again, a lot of it, again, especially again living in the city versus living in the country, is just the experience. Again, I've like you, live in Lincoln, raised in Lincoln. What does daily life look like for people who can't drive, 2 minutes across town to go to Target or Walmart or stuff like that? And so again, this is kind of what these exchange students kind of got a taste of from people from Omaha going out west and vice versa.
Yeah, and I think a really cool part of this exchange has been, I mean, not only are they touring these communities, but they're also staying in, hosts open their doors for people visiting from across the state to stay in their house, to, enjoy meals, enjoy drinks, conversation, um, you know, talk about issues and stuff like that. But really, at the end of the day, it's about building relationships that, going forward could be incredibly useful and just valuable just in and of themselves.
And so, what was the again? This open letter was written. This idea was kind of hatched to do this exchange program. What was it like? Again, were you involved in the process of like hey, who wants to go to Western Nebraska, or hey, who wants to come back to Omaha?
It's on either sides of that exchange. There were multiple community groups involved. Churches. On Nebraska Community Foundation's side, we have a network of affiliated funds composed of volunteers who they really deserve a lot of credit for this initiative because they are the ones who organize the tours, open the businesses, open their homes, and vice versa with the people in North Omaha because they also opened their churches, their homes, invited us to the Juneteenth parade, and really it was just kind of it was a community effort on both sides, and I can't thank everyone involved enough because without all of them, there wouldn't be a story to tell. So.
And it sounds like, again, I asked you this before we jumped on our stream today. It sounds like everyone's still pretty gun ho about trying to continue this, and let's find a new set of people. Maybe it's from the Lincoln area this time as opposed to Omaha, and maybe it's I don't know, somewhere out Scotts Bluff and Chadron or way out in the Panhandle and do that exchange.
Yeah, I like the way you think, Bill. I think that's exactly what we want to see happen. So, yeah, I mean, if you're interested, you can reach out to Nebraska Community Foundation, or you're in the North Omaha area, I'm sure you'll be able to find Preston Love and talk with him about it. So it's everyone involved is eager to see it grow. We just want to see how big it can get, I suppose.
It's and again, it's a super cool. I mean, I think we've all heard of exchange trips, whether it's in college or high school or whatever. But the thought of doing it within your own state, that just never occurred to me. And again, with this being such a big state and so much rural space versus so little urban space, again, a super cool idea that you guys came up with at the Nebraska Community Foundation. And I'm excited to kind of see where this continues to go. I think this, again, would go a long way in kind of helping to bridge that divide.
Yeah, I agree. And I'll give you a call next time there's a tour, and we'll see if we can get you on there.
Yeah, well, I'll bring the camera, and we'll take some video of it too while we're along. All right. So, is there anything, Michael, that we missed that we need to make sure we talk about before we let you go?
I think we covered a lot. Obviously, the story has a lot more detail, but I would just say, when it comes down to it, building community among people in this state is always going to be to the benefit of everyone. So look out for your neighbors and, see how you can help.
Yeah, and I would echo that statement, especially coming out of COVID. More than anything else now, we need more community and more of those connections. So again, super great story. Again, you can find this on the Flatwater Free Press's website, flatwaterfreepress.org. Michael did a great job writing it. You can also find it on 1011now.com, and we'll send it out to our social media sites as well so you can get it there. Michael, thank you so much for jumping in and joining us today. I hope you have a nice Friday, and I hope, again, you stay cool.
Yeah, you too. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Awesome. All right, that was Michael Wonder. Again, he's with the Nebraska Community Foundation. He again wrote the story for the Flatwater Free Press, and again, like I just mentioned, you can find that story again on the Flatwater Free Press website as well as on 1011now.com. So again, this is our regular Friday segment. So again, we'll be back next Friday with another story from the Flatwater Free Press. So again, you want to make sure you tune in for that. Again, as always, thanks everyone for watching. For all the latest news, weather, and sports, make sure you keep it tuned to 1011 both on air and online. Hope everyone stays cool and hope